All right, guys, welcome to tonight's team call. We might have a few people hop on at like 8:05. We usually have stragglers that decide to come on a little late, but I want to get started because I want to respect your time. And I'm going to introduce y'all to Kat, Katrina, but it's Kat Meets Kale if y'all follow her on Facebook or Instagram, which I think is like the cutest name ever. I kind of want my name to be Kat because I think that's just adorable. So Kat and I actually met we are in like a elite push group together that corporate has created. And we met in there and then we got to meet at New Leader Conference in person and we got to hang out and just chill and get to know one another more. And she's like the coolest person ever. She is, she's laughing. She is a lifetime 2-star diamond and she's a successful legend. And when I think and she's been coaching for over 2 years. But I think it's like the coolest thing when I asked her to like tell me a little bit about her today as far as like her coaching goes. She told me she quit her full-time job as a banking at a bank. She was there for 10 years. She quit her full-time job 6 months into coaching. Like, obviously this girl knows what the heck she's doing, right? So let's give her all your attention. And again, I'm going to mute everyone. So if y'all have questions throughout, there's that little chat box at the bottom, or just wait till the end and y'all can ask questions, all right? Okay, so go ahead. I'm going to mute myself too because I have dogs over here that will probably
Okay. Hey guys, so I'm so excited to share with you my secret sauce or whatever and really just talk to you about like your vibe attracts your tribe. And so I'm going to be telling you guys a little bit about that, kind of how to work social media, how I work social media, tell you a little bit about my background. So as she said, I was in banking for 10 years. And I thought I was going to work there the rest of my life. I actually loved my job. The thing I didn't like is that I worked 40 hours a week, and I felt like a slave to really the time, not so much my job, because I did love my job. But then my friend brought to me this opportunity, and I thought, well, maybe if I can just pay for my Shakeology, I would be happy with that. So I come into this business, I was 100 pounds overweight, and I was struggling with suicidal thoughts, depression, anxiety. I mean, I was a mess. I had arthritic pain. I had fibromyalgia, hypothyroid. I mean, I was a mess, literally a mess. Coming into this business, no clue what I was doing, but I signed up as a coach the same day I signed up as a challenger. So I'm going to tell you guys how I kind of got started. I know there's some new coaches on the call, so maybe you're kind of wondering, like, how do I get started with running a like page, or how do I even, like, what do I even post on my page? So I'm going to be sharing with you guys some of the tips and things of what I did. But I came into this business, and my coach literally taught me nothing. Like, I got a 5-day training, so that was it, and it was kind of just like, the basics, like what's Success Club, and so it was pretty basic. So I just I didn't have a lot of training, so I just knew that I did not want to have to message people into this business to get them and into this business. So I made it my my goal to put my story out on social media to attract people to me. So I can still say to this day that I've never actually had to reach out to someone to bring them into this business. They've always, from day one, came to me because I was just like, no, I'm not going to reach out to people. I'm not going to. Just that's the way it's going to be. So I taught myself to be an attraction marketer. I didn't even know what that was. I had 200 friends on Facebook. I had just gone on like a deleting spree. I knew hardly anything about social media. I had Facebook. I had an Instagram, kind of. Not, I wouldn't really say I had an Instagram, but I didn't know a lot about social media. But I knew the power of my story would get people into this business. And with my transformation, that's just what I did. And then sharing the power of my story with my business and my health. So like she said, within 6 months, I was already out earning my banking job. So I was like, God told me, like, this is what I'm supposed to do full time. So I quit. So I still can't believe it was just 6 months. So I've been coaching for just over 2 years. I have never not hit Success Club. I'm actually a Success Club 10 legend. I only missed Success Club 10 one time ever. But, and that's with just attraction marketing. And it's not like I've done a lot of ads because I'm in the Jesse Ray training, but I'm like, I still have not done that. So I'm working on it, but it's not because I've done a lot of ads. It's just by the power of sharing my story. So that's kind of a little bit about my background. And so I'm going to share with you guys kind of like what I did from the very beginning. And so I'm going to start with, from the very beginning, I was like, well, I don't really want to post on my personal page. I want to start a Facebook page. So from day one, I was like, okay, let's do a Facebook page. So I was asking my friends, like, what do you guys think would be a great name for my page? So ask your friends, like, hey, like, maybe some ideas of what they might think, because I did not come up with my page name. It was actually one of my friends. And I had 2 other names picked out. So what I did was I went to my personal Facebook page and I asked all of my friends, my 200 friends on Facebook, hey, I have these 3 names. I'm thinking about starting a health and fitness page. What do you think of these 3 names? What would you pick? So one, that showed them, hey, I'm starting this journey and I'm going to be making a Facebook page. So it's like clue number 1, you can be a part of my transformation here to come. 2, that kind of gave them an in on, they got to be a part of who I was going to become and what my page was going to be. So they got to kind of help me choose what my page name was going to be. So they kind of got to vote. So when the day came that I actually created my page, they already felt like they were a part of my journey just because they were a part of creating it. So when I started my page, when I asked all my friends to follow me, they're like, yeah, I'll follow you. I think I asked 100 people my first day, or I asked all the girls on my Facebook page, or that I was friends with, to follow my page. And I had 100 people just my first day follow me. And I think it's because I interacted with them and asked them, hey, like, what would you be a part of? So if you guys are thinking about starting a page, if you haven't yet, I think that's a great idea to get started. Okay, so then, like, what did I post on my page? I made it it was my job to transform my life. So my very first month, I gave it 100% to my fitness journey. And wherever you guys are today, it doesn't matter if you've been a coach for a year, if you've been a coach for 6 months or 2 weeks, you need to make your health and fitness a priority, because when you're transforming your life, you're going to naturally attract people into this business. So through my first month, I really did not even tell people I was a coach or anything. I was just like, hey, I've joined this challenge group and it's changing my life. And so I kind of told the story of that. And that's kind of just how I got started. And I've always just maintained that. But I'm going to break it down for you guys, kind of what I've done to attract people to my page, or attract people to me to want to join my business. So number 1 is I've always done the vital behaviors every single day. There's not a day that goes by that I do personal development, I invite, I'm a product of the product, and now I recognize people. Okay, so number 1, being a product of the product. If you guys are drinking Shakeology, you're doing your workouts, you want to make sure that you're putting it out there on social media. Now it's not like, I know Jesse says this too, but not like you're, hey, like, this is my Shakeology, check it out, it's so awesome. But tell them why. Why is it transforming your life? Why is it making a difference? Why do you work out? But putting it out there on social media, not just doing it, but putting it out there for others to see. It's kind of like if you were to open a bakery and you would invite all your friends and family to be a part of what you're doing. This is kind of the same way, only it's like your Facebook page is a brick and mortar business, essentially. So putting yourself out there on social media and showing people what you have to offer, these amazing workouts and Shakeology and these challenge groups, that's what you have to offer. But if the world doesn't know about it, they're not going to want to be a part of it. So you have to continually share with them every single day. But really when that powerful, that power is going to come out of sharing your story out of it, because they may see the infomercials, they may see Shanti, they may see Autumn on TV, but it's not going to really like speak to them because they don't know them. But when they see you transforming your life, that's going to speak to them. Number 2 is personal development. A lot of my posts come from personal development. I do at least a chapter a day, but most of the time I listen to an hour to 2, 3, 4 hours sometimes of personal development a day. I mean, I am a full-time coach, but anytime I'm driving, I'm whatever. Because that, when we talk about our vibe, when we're consistently growing ourselves, we're going to be attracting that to us too. So it's so important to do personal development. And then inviting, which we do through social media, which I invite through social media, but really the magic is inviting through your Facebook, or inviting through messaging people and posting on your like page. When you put the two together, that's where the magic happens. Number 4 is recognizing others. So make sure that you're recognizing on your social media, because here's the thing, they may see you having this freaking awesome transformation and they're like, wow, she's a rock star, she's changing her life. But if they don't see anybody else around you doing it, you may be, okay, so I know we all follow a bunch of Beachbody coaches. So we see all these transformations and we see all this awesome stuff. But most of the time, our followers, we're the only inspiration that they're getting. So when they see that we're the only one succeeding, they may think, wow, she's a rock star. She's got this going on and all this stuff. But when you start sharing the success of others that are on your team, in your challenge group, and those around you, it's like gonna be a light bulb come on and say, oh, like not only she's doing it, but all the people around her are doing it. So sharing that on social media, where, I mean, it could be victories in your team, victories coaches had on your team. It could be a non-scale victory one of your challengers has had. One of my favorite things to do is when I started brand new challenge group, the first week, I'll ask everybody how much they lost. And usually like their first week, they lose quite a bit of weight. So then I add up all my challengers' weight loss total, and I'll say, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of my challengers this week. They lost a total of 100 pounds. Like, and so your followers are like, what? Like they lost 100 pounds? That is amazing. So just showing that not just you are having amazing success, but all of your challengers, your other coaches on your team and stuff are having success too. I think that's so important. Okay, so that's just covering the vital behaviors. So number 2 or 3, number 2 is be consistent. So from day 1, when I became a coach, I have always posted on my page 2 to 3 times a day. I don't care how sick I was. If any of you follow me, you know I've been really, really sick this last year. It didn't matter how sick I was. I always posted on my page 2 to 3 times a day. It didn't matter if it was just a quote. It didn't matter if it was just, whatever if it was a meme, whatever I could do to get something on my Facebook page, because my followers were counting on it because I was consistent. And when you are consistent on your page, I know I have a lot of coaches who are like, well, I posted like something like last week. And I'm like, no, like you have to show up every single day. When you're not consistent with posting on your page, that tells your followers that when you're running a challenge group, you're not going to be consistent. You may show up one day, but a week later, you may not show up. Like you have to be consistent on social media, or your challenge or your following is not going to trust you to be their coach. So it's so important that you're consistent. Number 3 is add value. So I can't remember where I got this quote. I think it may have been from Gary Vaynerchuk, but I can't remember. But people will only follow you for 2 things, for entertainment or education. So unless you're a Kardashian, then you probably need to be giving some value to people on social media. And there's so many ways that you can add value to people's lives that are so easy, especially with health and fitness. But whether that be recipes or why you're drinking Shakeology or why you get your workouts in, there's so many ways to add value into people's lives and educate them on health and fitness. Just look at the Beachbody blog. There's tons of ideas on the Beachbody blog. Go to Pinterest. There's so much you can add value to on your social media, but you have to continually be educating your following, or they're going to go somewhere else. Or they're just going to unfollow you. Yes, you want to share your story and your life, but you want to continually be adding value into their lives. Number 4, I always say, take good pictures. I know sometimes people get these grainy pictures going on, or like their laundry in the background, which if you're like a mom and that's like your thing or whatever, that's okay. But one of the great videos I watched on this which you guys may know about, but Raina Adele has like a selfie 101 video. I don't know if you guys know about it, but it's so good. And I was like, oh my gosh, where has this been my whole life, to give to my coaches, and I was so excited. But she like literally goes over angles, she goes over lighting, she goes over everything. So if you guys need to up your selfie game, I know I can always up my selfie game. It can always get better. I highly recommend that video. Number 5, and this is really about your vibe. So I always say just be you, be authentically you, and you're going to attract people just like you. I remember my first summit where I had my last summit, I had my team there and I had never met any of them in person. And I was like, oh my gosh, these women are just like me. It's weird. And it was because I put myself out on social media to where I attract those same kind of people. And so that's essentially what you want to do, because when you're attracting people, your vibe and your tribe, then it's going to be so much fun to work with those people every single day. So what I do to attract my tribe is post my top 3 things. What is the most interesting things to me? What am I passionate about to attract? And I've seen people do like totally random things, or like things, the more specific and the more kind of different they are, the better. I've seen people do things like Disney World or peanut butter or tacos or I don't know. There's all different kinds. My top 3 are my makeup, faith, and health. Those are my top 3 things. And I just attract people that love those 3 things. And it's really cool. And like, I never really thought until because like, I'm just like a huge God person and my faith is a huge thing to me, but I never realized how much your vibe really attracts your tribe until I got my nose pierced. And when I got my nose pierced, I started attracting all of these coaches and these challengers that had their nose pierced. I'm like, this has never been something before, but it's just like you attract what you're like, what you're speaking to, what you portray, that's what you're going to attract. And I thought that was just so funny. But whatever that is for you, make sure you pick your top 3 and you rotate those and talk about those frequently and really share your story on that, whatever you're passionate about. Number 6 is don't be afraid to post about your business. So I know this is something that I was like totally scared to post about my business. And I remember my coach, because when I first came into the business, I was really good at commission sales because I was selling challenge packs and I was bringing in challengers, but I was scared to death to post about my business. And it wasn't until my coach told me, she's like, yeah, you can bring in challengers all day long, but when you're really going to expand your income is when you start bringing in coaches. And she's like, in order to do that, you're going to have to be talking about your business story. You're going to have to be inviting coaches and stuff to this business. So don't be afraid to post about your business. I know Bonnie Engel does a really good job of this, or Raina Odell, but people that just post about your lifestyle. And what you mean like that, even if you're working full-time still, you can still post about your lifestyle. And I know I had to be really creative. I always have to be really creative in ways to post about the business. But there's so many opportunities that you can have to post about the business to show people your lifestyle. One of the books that I'm reading, I know Jesse's reading it too, but Get Over Your Damn Self. You guys, if you have not read that book, it is mind-blowing. But she talks about when you are in network marketing, if you're a brand new coach, you need to be speaking about what this opportunity can do for you. If you've been around a while and you have a story, you can talk about what this opportunity has done for you. So kind of based on where you're at, that's where your story needs to come from on your social media. So if you're brand new and you don't really have a story yet, you can talk about how amazing this is, what it's going to do, what you want it to do for you. Make sure you're sharing that consistently. I would say at least 3 times a week, sharing about the business and what it can do for you. If you have a story, make sure that you're sharing what it has done for you. I actually wrote out my business story, like where I was. So I had a column of what I was before. I was $30,000 in debt. I Was always afraid our card was going to decline at the register. I would literally have to walk away from the register when my husband was checking out because I was too scared that it would decline. We were living in a house that I literally hated. But that was my old story. And now my new story is like, I get to live in this awesome place and I get to live where I want. I have the freedom to live where I want. And like my life is transformed. So whatever that is for you, like write it out. Sometimes it clarifies that for people or clarifies that for you to make it easier to share your story on social media. Number 7 is have fun and be excited, especially if you want to attract those kind of people into your business. So, I am really, like, I seem really excited on social media. I am not that exciting in person. I am actually not exciting at all in person. I'm very like mellow and like, yeah. So, but on social media, I want to be positive and but show enthusiasm and be excited because I really am on the inside excited about life. It's just like in person, I'm just kind of like not that exciting. But you guys, like, you want that vibe to come through, that excitement to come through the page or come through the screen. So you attract that because people are so much more attracted to energy and attracted to positivity than they are to something that's not so exciting. So make sure you're always showing your pearly whites and make sure that you have your excited face on, and that will attract more people into this business, I promise. I always say be positive. There's so much negativity in the world, and sometimes we are the only positive light that people will see on social media. So I try to never be negative on social media. I mean, I have been through hell and back this last year, and it has been really, really hard for me. But I always try to find something positive in my day that I can share about. If I'm going through the trenches or whatever, I may not share about that now, but now that I'm through that, I can share about, hey, this is where I was and this is where I am now, and I have an awesome life. And that's kind of what we call the dip. I don't know if you guys have heard that term before, but basically telling your story is kind of like a dip. You want to tell about Yes, you want to tell you about your past, but you don't want to tell about your sucky life if it's currently. But basically, the dip is where you were, where you went through, and where you are now. So I always try to say, like, this is where I was, and just give a little, they say it's like the 80-20 rule, because you can't just be like all the time, like, my life is the best, I have this amazing life, you guys, I'm loaded, and I live in this swanky place, or whatever, and I drive a Ferrari, I don't, but anyway, if you did, but people would be like, I hate you, like, all you do is brag about your awesome freaking life, like, I don't care. But if you show them where you've come from, it relates to them, and then you're able to speak to that person of, hey, like, she came from a really bad place and she's at this awesome place now. That's inspirational, and I could be that, because you have to show them where you came from, and you can't be afraid of sharing where you came from, because that's where you're going to really relate to people. I know some of the most scary things for me, like, I used to be very, I had suicidal thoughts every single day. I dealt with depression, anxiety attacks. It was horrible, horrible, horrible. But I remember the first time that I shared that on social media, and my friends, my family didn't know about it. No one knew about it except for, well, nobody really knew about it. So I remember sharing that on social media, that I had overcome that. And it was like the scariest thing to put out there on social media. But that was one of the best things that I'd ever done, because so many people messaged me. They commented. They're like, I'm struggling with that right now. You're such an inspiration. They would message me. Like, it just blew up, because that's something deep, dark, and scary that a lot of people don't talk about. A lot of people don't talk about how far in debt that they were, and how horrible and like constraining that is on your life. But once you come out of that and you can talk about it, it's so inspirational to people to share that. So never be afraid to share your story. But I always say, keep the 80-20 rule. Make sure you're sharing only about 20% about where you came from and 80% of where you are now. not just 100% of how awesome your life is now, but make sure you always share about where you came from. And that's pretty much all I have. So I hope that helps. If you guys have any questions or whatever.
I love that 80-20 rule. I do 80-20 rule like food-wise, but
it really does. It makes a difference.
Thought about it posting-wise. Does anyone have any questions? Y'all can unmute if you do.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Molly.
Go ahead.
Hey, I am just starting a like page, and I haven't made it public yet. But I just kind of keep posting things. But I'm wondering, when did you? I know that you mentioned that you asked for feedback on what the name was for your like page, but then when do you kind of invite people to it?
Okay, so
gonna invite people and there's gonna be nothing there.
Okay, so what I do now, this is what I tell my coaches to do. Before, I didn't really know what I was doing, so I just invited people, whatever. So basically, I posted on my Facebook page or my page a few days. Make sure that I was consistently posting 2 to 3 times a day. Probably whatever you would have posted on your personal page. Post it to your Facebook page. Get it all set and ready. Then I go in, and then I would ask your team to follow your page. So that I don't know how many you have in your team, but at least it'll get you some people following your page. So when you're inviting people, they'll be like, oh, this isn't a dead page. It doesn't have anybody following it. They'll see some people following it. And then go in and then go have your close friends and family to follow it. So ask them to follow it. Then once they have followed it, then go ask the rest of your friends. And that's kind of my system of how, so it's not like people that don't really know you, then they'll be like, oh, she has a page. Okay, I'll follow it. It already has followers. So hopefully that helps.
Thank you. Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Does anyone else have questions? I took lots of notes. I loved everything you said. Y'all, that book, it's downstairs. I'm house sitting, so my stuff is everywhere. I'm a professional dog sitter, if y'all didn't know, apparently. But that book that she was saying, Get Over Your Damn Self, it was written by another person that is in network marketing. I want to say she's in
Roden & Fields.
Roden & Fields, yeah, skincare. And I feel like she's speaking obviously she's speaking to network marketers, but some of the stuff and terms she uses, it's Beachbody. I'm just this is a Beachbody book. Everyone that is in Beachbody that is wanting to build a business needs to be reading that book.
Yeah, I'm having all of my brand new coaches read it just because the way she tells you to tell your story. And then my favorite part of the book is when you're inviting people to the business, share instead of pleasure, share your pain, or share pain that would attract them to the business. It's brilliant. I've never heard it in that term before.
Yeah, because when you relate to someone's pain point, everyone has some type of pain point, and it's not to be a negative thing. It's more of that's what's going to connect you. So she was saying when she posted about having suicidal thoughts, and she came out with that, people related to that because people deal with that, right? When I talk about my anxiety or my depression or my binge eating, people immediately, I've had multiple people message me, asking me questions or just saying I relate to that too. I'm right where you were or whatever. People relate to that pain. If I just post a picture of me and my Shakeology and I'm love my shake, it helps me, kicks my cravings. Yeah, it might relate to someone, but that's not someone's pain point, right? You have to really that's how you connect with someone, is through their pain. So it sounds bad, but it's not bad. It sounds depressing, but it's not. That's how you help people. Does anyone else have questions? Okay.
I'll just add to that, find the pain idea. That is an old school selling technique. I come from outside sales as a background. And when I first started in outside sales, that was one of the first things that they told us. As you're going into an office, find the pain, find where your solutions fit their needs. So that's kind of it is the same idea here, that by making ourselves a little bit more vulnerable and sharing our experiences, we're more likely to attract people that may have similar experiences and need similar help that brought us to this.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's awesome. By the way, I found when you said the thing about Raina Odell's 101 selfie video, I went and found that on YouTube and just posted it in our team page because I've never seen it. So I wanted to make sure that y'all had it. So I'm going to go watch that after this, but I wanted to make sure that y'all have it. So it is in Tribe Health and in Florida Fit, just so y'all know. Anyone else have questions? If y'all don't follow her, y'all should go follow her because y'all, her transformation is insane and she's awesome. Anything else? Anyone want to ask anything?
Okay, so this is one of my concerns because I do want to do like Katrina had done and start a different page other than my personal Facebook page. Just because I've been a little bit more private than the average social media user.
In a minute, we're going to go watch some TV and get settled.
And then I also feel like, and maybe I'm incorrect in feeling this, that I haven't had enough of a dramatic change to lure anyone in. You know, Jesse, I watched you for years, but it wasn't until really, I guess, last year where I was seeing you post your, what were you doing, water skiing photo? And then your real life photos from now.
Yeah.
You know, so here I am hovering still in my size 10 world, on my way to a 8, 6, or 4, I hope. But I don't have anything dramatic to share. So how can you advise on that one?
Well, I will say when I first started, the day I started my Facebook page was the day I started my challenge. I literally had no transformation, like
okay.
And I just made it my mission to be the vet. I knew like I was going to give it 100% to my nutrition, 100% to my exercise. I mean, I was 100 pounds overweight. I was a size 20 and I started this page and I'm like, hey guys, check out my journey. I haven't even started yet. So it wasn't like I had any transformation to bring people in. To bring people in. It was like, hey guys, I'm starting this journey. Come follow me. And I just posted consistently 2 to 3 times a day. And I just made it my mission to lose weight. And through my first month, I was sharing non-scale victories. I was sharing just everything about my journey. Within 1 month, I think I had over 800 followers. It was crazy. And I only had 200 Facebook friends. So it wasn't like I had a lot of people to come. But like the sharing of my story and people, like the algorithms and stuff like that, I guess, like people were following me just from seeing and others commenting and doing other stuff on my page. So it wasn't like I had a transformation to begin with, though.
Okay. I also think that a lot of new coaches think that you need this massive transformation. If you go and look, and I know some of you are brand new and you don't even know who the top 10 coaches are, but a lot of the top 10 coaches, Bonnie Engel, Raina Odell, I don't think has a massive, I know she's lost weight, but I don't think she's had a massive transformation story. Amy Silverman, they don't have hundreds of pounds of weight loss that they've lost. It's just Bonnie Engel's lost 10 pounds total maybe. I don't know, maybe 20 at the most, and she's top 10 for the last 3 years. But she just shares other things, and then she shares all aspects. So you don't need this massive transformation. And I also think that people think that you have to be at your goal to inspire somebody, and that is not true at all. I actually think that you're more inspiring when you are starting out from day one and you're saying hey, this is what I'm doing. Watch me, watch my journey, be a part of my journey. Because if you post something and say, hey, I'm doing a 21-day program, and then you let them see you in your journey, that's what's going to inspire them. Not necessarily the 21-day before and after picture. Yeah, that's cool, but they're going to start where you are. They're not starting at their goals, just like you didn't start at your goals. So, like, I've had people actually come, like, message me saying, or if I message them, reach out to them, they say that they're now intimidated to reach out to me because I'm, like, fit or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but I didn't start at that point. So that's why I'm constantly trying to remind people of where I started, like Kat said, because you have to, we all start somewhere, right? We all start somewhere. We're not, majority of Beachbody coaches don't start out. I mean, some do, but most don't start out super fit or healthy. But that's why we join Beachbody. That's why we need it, right? So I think that that's like a huge misconception. And I see a lot of coaches do that. Like they're afraid to, or they don't know what to share. Like she said, non-scale victories go a very long way, y'all. Like people, if you say like, I could put my wedding ring back on and it hasn't fit in years, like that's huge. You can bend down and touch your toes to tie your shoe and you couldn't do that before. Like you go walk up a flight of stairs. Anytime I talk about my struggles, my old struggles, that's what relates to people because that's where they're at. So you have to think of it like that. Like the people that you're going to be talking to are where you're at right now. So when you're sharing that, that's what's going to attract them. That's what's going to make them say, okay, well, and then if they see you doing it, they see you posting and sharing your full journey, every aspect of it, they're going to be like, okay, well, if she can do it, then I can do it because I am where she's at. I am, starting out just like her. Does that help?
Yes.
I will say that, okay, so I started at 100 pounds overweight. I lost 80 pounds. So yes, I lost 80 pounds, but I got really, really sick. I didn't know what was wrong with me and actually gained 50 pounds back. But I still, even though I gained 50 pounds, I still hit Success Club 10 every month. And I still showed up every single day. I didn't give up. I mean, there were probably very few coaches that could gain 50 pounds and still remain a coach, but I still kept trying. But the thing, and people knew, like I was gaining, and I told people, I said, I'm gaining weight, I'm sick, I don't know what's wrong with me. But people were inspired because I didn't give up. Because I kept pushing forward and I kept just being real. And I'm like, hey guys, this sucks really bad, but I'm going to get through this. And my followers have stayed with me. And people keep coming and wanting to be a part of what I'm doing. Not necessarily because I'm losing weight, because I did it for a year, but because I'm inspiring and I'm just continuing to try to be my best self. So that's all you guys need to do is always just be your best self.
Cool.
Hopefully that's inspiring.
Yeah,
Don't go gain 50 pounds like I did.
No,
I'm losing weight. Now that my health issues are figured out, I'm actually losing weight and I feel really good. So.
Anyone else have questions? Ashley, you unmute yourself.
Yeah, I have a quick question. So you said like share like what this business is doing for you and like what it can do for you. I feel like I'm great at sharing like what it's done for me because that's, my journey. But like, how do you share like what it's going to do for you without being like, watch me work and make this happen type of thing? Does that make sense?
Yeah. There's so many ways. That book, Get Over Your Damn Self, she talks about it a lot in that book, but there's so many ways. Maybe share with people your goals or like what you want to see happen. Say, my goal is to make 6 figures a year from home. And this business is that tool that's going to get me there. I mean, there's so many different ways. Like maybe like I've always wanted to go on a vacation where it's all inclusive and I didn't have to pay for it. Beachbody is literally that tool to get me there. There's so many ways that you could do to share about that. Or I've always wanted to work from home or have the freedom to work when and where I want. Beachbody, it may not be the tool for me, or I may not have that now, but it is a tool that could in the future be that for me. So whatever your goals are, and that's something you can share with people that'll inspire people too, is sharing your vision and why you're doing this.
I like that. Thanks so much.
I think Alexis, did you have a question? You're muted though. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So you were talking about sharing a lot of posts from the PD that you're reading. How do you go into writing that? Like, I feel like I can't articulate well. Like, I feel like when I go to write about that, it's like, I feel like it's random. I'm not sure how to like go into that. I don't know if it's like just because like I taught little kids for so long, like my brain, you know, like I have these things I want to share, but I feel like when I go to share it, it just feels very like random on my page. Does that make sense?
Well, I'm pretty random, so I'm kind of like all over the place. No, I totally understand, because I'll make a post sometimes, I'm like, wow, that's really random. I don't know if my followers will understand that. So I totally get where you're coming from. But I think that the main thing with sharing personal development is not just share it, but share how it affects you. Kind of tie your story into it at the same time, and not, you know, because then it won't be random, because it's about you and your journey and personal development, what it's doing for you, or, hey, this is, whatever. I remember, okay, so for instance, one thing I shared on my page of personal development, I was learning about from the compound effect, and how he talks about little things that we do every single day add up to big things. And it really struck me. I love that book. I've read it like 3 times, but he says like you could walk every single day for like an hour a day and lose like 42 pounds a year if you don't do anything else. And so I'm like I was literally at the nature center walking when I heard that. I'm like, dude, this is a post. Like, this is so good. And I could relate it to my story. So that was a post I made. But there's so many ways with personal development, and I read personal development that usually relates to me, something that I need to work on. But people find personal development inspiring. They may not know it, but it's inspiring to people. But there's so many people that want, like, to me, I always wanted personal development, but I didn't know it was a thing. Like, if that makes sense. I didn't know, like, people, I mean, I thought personal development, like, when I heard the term personal development, I thought it was people like crazy people. Like, I didn't think it was like for people like us. So just sharing like, hey, a lot of times I'll just be like, hey, this is a book I'm reading and this is a tidbit out of it. And it's so powerful and it's so awesome. And people are like, what are you reading? I want to read it. Like, so many people do. So just anything that you can share and relate back to your story or where you want to go, it won't be random. It'll be really good.
Does anyone else have any questions? I don't know. There's people on the phone. Does anyone on the phone have questions? No? Okay. I just want to make sure I'm not leaving anyone out. All right. Well, thank you so much, Kat. I loved that call. I took tons of notes. I obviously went on YouTube and found videos of your notes while you were talking. But no, thank you so much. Seriously, y'all. She is amazing. Y'all should go follow her page. She's awesome.
Kat Meets Kale.
Kat Meets Kale. But really, I appreciate you taking the time out of your night. And thank you, everyone, for getting on. I'm going to post the recording of this call on my YouTube, and then I'll put it in our team page like I always do. All right. So thank you so much. If y'all have any questions afterwards, like just message me.
And don't hesitate to reach out to me if you ever have questions.
Just don't blow up her inbox. Because they will.
I really don't care.
Yeah, they will. All right.
You guys have a nice night.
Good
Bye.
night. Thank you so much.
Thank you.